I just took all that time to praise Luka Dončić, and rightfully so. I think Luka is already in the conversation for best basketball player alive. There's Nikola Jokic at the top. Then you can look at Giannis. You can look at Luka Dončić. You can even look at a guy like Anthony Edwards, who shoved himself into that conversation recently. Joel Embiid is really, really good still, coming off, a really good season when he was healthy. Kevin Durant is still pretty high up on my list. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is really starting to enter these conversations as well as at least an elite-level superstar, I would say. But here's the thing. The 2024 NBA Finals fully exposed Luka Dončić. Luka Dončić is not quite the best player in the world. He's great, but he fell short of capturing that title this season. And here's the thing. The NBA Finals kind of exposes who the true all-time great performers are. It's kind of like Broadway. It's like, oh yeah, you see all these, good-looking people on a Hollywood TV screen in theaters, but the reality is some of these guys, or women, I should say, they're not on Broadway doing a whole bunch of shenanigans. Like, if you can master Broadway and get to the big screen, that's when you really, really know who can act. Because, you don't get a bunch of takes over and over. It's raw, live performances. No do-overs, no fixing up things. Like, it's Broadway. It's live. You're exposed in front of everyone. Live performance, okay? And that's the thing about the NBA Finals is, you're not playing a team on a back-to-back. They're not super-duper fatigued. Everyone's hurt and injured just like you are. It's the NBA Finals. And a lot of players in the past have been to NBA Finals and have realized, man, I'm not quite as good as I thought I was. For an example, LeBron James, his first two NBA Finals wasn't that great of a shooter. 2011 versus Dallas, didn't hit a lot of jump shots, Same thing versus the Spurs. The Spurs defense, threw a lot of looks at LeBron James, forced him to take a lot of tough jumpers, and he really didn't hit him. Stephen Curry, in his first two NBA Finals, was exposed on defense, was pushed around. The Cavaliers got physical with him. And Stephen Curry had to go back to the lab and say, okay, I need to get stronger. I need to get quicker on defense. I need to put in more work, despite how great I am. And that's the challenge I throw out to Luka Dončić. Is, Luka, you're so great that you can take it up another level. You can get to another level, Luka Dončić. You're that good of an all-time great player. And here's the thing about Luka. Here are some fair critiques from his most recent NBA Finals appearance. Luka Dončić shot 58% from the free throw line. 58% from the free throw line? The great Luka Dončić? That's not going to cut it. 24% from three-point range? That's just not going to cut it. That's abysmal by Luka Doncic's standards, And on defense, guys were just blowing by him. Constantly, just blowing by Luka Dončić. And it didn't seem like he cared all that much on defense. I mean, once the series was kind of out of hand, he tried a little bit better. But Luka's also fouling out of games. I mean, in a crucial Game 3, where if you win that game, you're right back in the series. You have to win Game 3 at home. Luka fouls out in the fourth quarter. And let me just, for all the people making excuses for Luka in that moment, let me ask you people, when is the last time you've seen an elite-level superstar foul out of an NBA Finals game? When's the last time a LeBron or a Magic Johnson fouled out of an NBA Finals game in a crucial, must-win Game 3 where you gotta have it? It just doesn't happen. Just doesn't happen. Gotta be more self-aware. And you could tell Luka was fatigued and worn down at times, and that was kind of by design in terms of what the Boston Celtics were looking to do. They were going to throw everything at Luka. They were going to force him to guard players on defense, and they were going to force him to hit tough shots on offense. And it worked by design. And I will challenge Luka Dončić to get in better peak physical condition. Because if he does that, if he gets in better shape, and by the way, Jason Kidd has admitted multiple times Luka has come into training camp out of shape multiple times, and that's not good. But if Luka does that, he'll probably more than likely be able to stay more and more healthy, more and more durable, come late postseason. He'll probably be able to give a better effort on defense because he's much more conditioned while still being an all-time great, effective offensive peak player. Like, in order for Dallas to win a championship led by Luka Dončić, in order for Luka to win a championship point blank period, he has to be at his peak level performance in terms of just his offensive game. Like, Luka, that's his bread and butter, like his offense. Like, it's one of those things where, if Aaron Judge isn't hitting home runs, what are we talking about? Same thing with Luka Dončić. If Luka Dončić isn't putting the ball in the basket, isn't hitting a bunch of threes, isn't hitting a bunch of tough shots, if he's not putting up at least 32 points a game in these big high leverage moments, what are we talking about? That's all I got to say. And there's a path for Luka because a guy like Nikola Jokic, who kind of plays similar to him, Nikola Jokic became an NBA champion because he got in better shape, because he invested more time into being a better, more committed defensive player, and Denver's roster improved. And what do you know? Nikola Jokic is on top of the world, NBA champion, takes the claim of, by many people's standards, best player in the world. There's a path for Luka Dončić. And by the way, Luka, stop complaining to the refs. Stop pouting. Stop crying. They're never going to respect you. They're never going to give you the benefit of the doubt if you continue to cry and whine like a little baby. Like, I'm sick and tired. Every time, there's a questionable foul. Luka, he's flopping. He's complaining. It's got to stop. It's got to stop. You got to put on the big boy pants. Stop complaining so much. So that's how I feel about Luka. I do, like I said, believe he can reach best player in the world status, but certain things would need to change. And I think Luka will need to do some of the things that I mentioned in order to get to that mountaintop. We'll see if he can do it. Will he do it? We'll see. Comment what you think. I love to hear what you guys have to say.